So I saw something that was really disturbing and made me want to make a video about it on Facebook. I saw a picture that this dude posted, and it basically said that everything you need to learn about Islam, I learned it in 5 minutes on 9/11/2001. And I thought that was pretty disturbing. And it kind of shows the disconnect that there still is in America as to what exactly is Islam and what exactly is a terrorist. So I think people that are serious and knowledgeable about foreign policy and things of that nature will tell you that there's a huge difference between Islam and terrorism. They're really not the same. But I want to take it a little further. I want to use the kind of like the golden rule perspective and just flip everything around for a second. Imagine if the United States were 50 separate Christian countries, all right? And New Jersey, well, 49 separate Christian countries, and New Jersey was a lone Muslim country, and we all felt the way neoconservatives do, or the other 49 did, and wanted to eliminate New Jersey. Uh, Now, just imagine then that China and Russia sent money and aid and things of that nature to New Jersey. Now, on the surface, there doesn't seem to me too much wrong with that. I mean, they're just allies. They're helping each other out. Oh, well. But then, it's still, it pisses you off a little bit, because you don't like New Jersey. That's your enemy. You live in Texas and California and everywhere else, and you're like, death to New Jersey, all parts of America, and the Chinese are bringing them weapons, they're bringing them technology and tons of money. Now, put it into even more perspective now. Say that certain of these Christian countries in the States, let's say, for instance, Texas and Utah, were ruled by dictators who wanted a theocracy, and they said, we're going to impose Mosaic law on everyone. And let's say that Florida was also ruled by a dictator who said he was Christian, but it was like a Mormon kind of Christian. And then he also opposed New Jersey, but let's say, if in a hypothetical situation that he wasn't as active, the dictator of Florida just didn't want to, and just because we're flipping it all around, let's make the dictator of Florida a woman. So this female dictator of Florida, she doesn't want to mess around with New Jersey all that much when it's convenient, and when it's not, it is what it is. She's just bent on ruling her country with an iron fist, or Florida. Now, how would you feel, alright? And say you lived in whatever part of the United States you live in, and then China comes in and says, well, we're going to invade Florida because we want to give Florida democracy. Alright? So, they invade Florida and install a new democratic government. Alright? But, neighboring Florida, let's say in Georgia, there was a similar government, there was a democratic government who got overthrown, and they installed a Mosaic-style, very, very hardcore Christian government there, and China gave them money, but then overthrew Florida and gave them democracy. You put that into perspective, basically. How would you feel if a nation like China was that inconsistent with their foreign policy, costing lives of what you consider to be your fellow brothers and sisters in arms and neighbors and all that, because they all live in America and we're all Christian, so you believe them to be a part of your family, and then additionally they're supporting somebody that you consider to be an enemy. Now, whether that's right or wrong isn't the question, because in religion dictates what's right or wrong. So if their religion dictates it's right, then there's not too much we can do about it. I personally don't believe their religion dictates it's wrong to be a Jew. It's just a lot of the hate that's being preached. Now, we'll take it now to a real life situation, and because that was a long ass hypothetical situation, it probably has everybody going crazy. But in real life, we give money to Saudi Arabia, we give tanks to Saudi Arabia. When Egypt had a dictator, the president that wouldn't allow any more elections, he got elected and then stopped having elections. He freaking became a dictator and then still got tanks and money from the United States. We gave him a lot of equipment. Pakistan, okay, also had a dictator in there. Well, he was elected and then stopped elections, got a lot of money and technology from the United States. But then we want to invade Iraq to promote democracy. We want to support Israel because it's a democracy. And then we also say we want to invade Iran. As you can see, this creates a high level of inconsistency. And it would be very logical for Muslims to become very defensive for their territory because they don't know if they're next. They don't know if they're going to be the next country that's going to get messed up by the United States because we don't know what the hell we're doing in America. They don't know that. So what they're doing, in my opinion, is perfectly logical. They're being very defensive, and they don't have the technology or the size to meet the United States one-on-one, so they have to resort to new tactics. Things that they see will create an effect that they desire, even though the cost is somewhat different. Perhaps not a monetary loss, perhaps it's a loss in life. But we wouldn't like it if it happened to us in this part of the world. We really wouldn't. We would raise hell, okay? I mean, just imagine in the 60s, they had missiles in Cuba, and we raised hell. We wanted to stop Castro. We wanted to do everything in our hemisphere to secure our hemisphere, and we went crazy about it. So just imagine how Muslims must feel when it's happening in their own backyards, right next door to them. And it doesn't make it better that when we bomb their, high-value targets, we end up killing women and children. And we know it's bound to happen. It's collateral damage. The American military says it's worth it. It's going to happen. It's bound to happen, and it's never 100% we're going to get a terrorist. There's always collateral damage. So we view it as an acceptable cost of, getting that high-value target to kill women and children in the process, which is inevitable. We're not saying it's going to happen, or I'm not saying it's going to happen every single time. But what I'm saying is it's going to happen no matter what you do. It's still going to happen because it's not arrow-proof. But then if they do it, even if it's only their own primary objective is to kill women and children and innocent civilians, there may not be as effective because we're killing a lot more women and children over there than they are over here. But it's kind of hypocritical, in my view, to say that it's wrong for them to do it, but if it's a byproduct of our actions, it's okay. So if you put yourself in their shoes and say, what would it be like if it happened to us? What would it be like if it happened here? If they wanted to attack Washington and they missed and they hit a suburb or something and a lot of women and children were killed, how would we feel about it? And now, you take that in the United States, we have neoconservative radicals, we have liberal radicals, environmental. Environmental terrorism is I think it's like somewhere above like 80% of the terrorist activity in the United States. It's a large majority of it is environmental terrorists. So you got to put it into perspective. We have radicals in our country. They might see it fit, knowing that we didn't have the technology, the weaponry, and the money to meet, let's say, a China or Russia one-on-one as individual little states, like Texas and Utah. Perhaps we would have our own little organizations, like, maybe an Occupy Wall Street or a Tea Party, send over a few terrorists and try to get them to stop. It seems perfectly rational to me. And I think we need to stop looking at Islam as a terrorist organization and start looking at the United States the same way they see us and the same way we see Islam.